So please join me in extending a warm Vermont welcome to Rino Caruccio.
Thank you, Dean Sharma. It's a long list of accomplishments there. I'm a little bit embarrassed by it. But I'd like to begin by congratulating this graduating class at the University School of Business. You should all feel very, very proud to sit in these seats today, ready to accept your degree. It's a testament not only to your hard work, your dedication, and your academic achievement, but also upholding the values and the ideals of this university. We were talking last night that there are over 4,000 applications for the opportunity to sit in these seats today. And for you guys to be here today is really quite remarkable. So I hope you understand, it wasn't easy to accomplish what you've done. And you're about to receive this recognition for the extraordinary effort. I hope you take the time to really bask in this moment, to feel very proud. When I was first asked to speak today, I will admit I was a bit confused. When I think of commencement speakers, I generally think of titans of industry or media personalities or famous athletes that are sharing great wisdom. I'm none of those types of people. Sure, I've had the privilege of working for two iconic companies, and I still stubbornly hold on to the belief that I possess the same athleticism today that I did when I was in my 20s. And once, when I was 7 years old, I was on a TV show as an audience member for an old kids show called The Trooper Yancey Show. But really, outside of my immediate family, I'm pretty unrecognizable. So I couldn't understand why a group of business school graduates would want to hear someone like me ramble on for 2 to 3 hours. But after speaking to my wife, she encouraged me to accept the invitation, and Dean Sharma also politely reminded me to keep my remarks under 20 minutes. So I began to reflect on my own time at UVM, and I realized that today is actually the 35th anniversary of my own graduation from this school. I'm speaking to you exactly 35 years to the day when I was sitting in these very same seats. Yes, we graduated exactly in the Flynn Theater. When I was ready to accept my diploma from the UVM School of Business. And like you, a graduate filled with pride at what I had accomplished and hope mixed with a little anxiety about what the future would hold. So I began to think about the past 35 years since that day, and what I would tell that 21-year-old version of myself today. With the benefit of that hindsight, what counsel, what advice would I provide? So with your indulgence, rather than bore you with some abstract platitudes or counsel, or worse yet, try to be funny, I'd just like to address my comments to that younger version of myself. Perhaps some of what I say will resonate with some of you in the room, maybe not. But at the end of the day, it's only 20 minutes. I would begin by telling myself to always walk the ice. As Dean Sharma mentioned, I grew up not too far from here in South Burlington, Vermont. And like a lot of Vermonters, I experienced my fair share of Vermont winters and all the fun things you can do in those winters. One game I remember in particular playing with my brothers was going down to Lake Champlain and seeing how far we could walk across the ice of the frozen lake before the ice would crack and we would fall in and get wet. Yeah, in hindsight, it probably wasn't the smartest game in the world to play. But again, we were only kids. What I remember about that game, though, was that we knew we would fail. In fact, the objective of the game was to reach the point of failure. Now, some of you will remind me that there were winters where you could literally drive your car across Lake Champlain, but with almost certainty, we knew we would reach a point where the ice would crack. The fun was in trying to push yourself that one step further. You know, trying to find how long you could last. Find that one path that would make you go just a little bit further until you actually ultimately failed. And I realized that's what life is all about. Pushing yourself each day towards that failing point, knowing that success is not about getting to the ultimate destination, but about pushing yourself, even to the point of almost certain failure. So I tell my younger self, remember to walk the ice. I would tell myself to look for green grass. After graduation, I took a job working for General Electric as a financial analyst. After about 3 months in the job, my manager pulled me aside and told me this story about a mom with a 10-year-old son. And she told her son to water the lawn every day, and she would pay him $1 a day to water the lawn. So her son followed suit. A few weeks later, the mom was in the kitchen, and she looked out the window and saw her son standing in the pouring rain, watering the lawn. Yeah, naturally the mom became very upset. She began to yell at her son for being so foolish, and her son was naturally confused because he was doing exactly what he was told to do. It was in that moment that the mom realized that the situation was really her fault. She had specifically asked for the lawn to be watered and actually motivated him to do that. But that's not what she wanted. What she wanted was green grass. My manager told me this story to remind me to always understand the green grass when taking on a job or a task. Don't get caught up with watering the lawn. Too often, we take on a challenge without really understanding what the end objective is. And we allow processes and details to really dictate what's going on. It's important to understand the why and the so what of a job, as much as the how and the where. So we really know how to align our efforts towards what really, really matters. So I would tell myself, always look for the green grass. I would remind myself that it's never too early to give back. Like many of you in this room, I was involved in activities outside of the classroom at UVM, mostly in the Greek community and residential life. And those activities provided me a great opportunity to give back to UVM, but also the community at large. But when I graduated, I turned my focus naturally towards my own career and my own professional development. Because I didn't really think I had the time or the resources to really give back at that point. But when I went back to graduate school, 5 years later, I came across a quote from Winston Churchill that said, "We make a living from what we get, but we like a life from what we give." So I re-engaged my efforts to make sure I gave back and made it part of my daily life. I made sure to find ways to give of my time or my talent or my treasure to those that I worked and lived with. I made sure that my life wasn't just about me, but about the collective we. So I would tell myself, it's never too early to give back. I would tell myself to develop a personal board of directors. It probably doesn't take a lot of convincing to a room full of business school graduates the importance of a board of directors to the success of any enterprise. We know there's a clear correlation between the involvement and the makeup of the members of a board and a company's long-term success. That same concept applies to us as individuals. We should all develop a personal board of directors. Individuals who can advise us and guide us through life. And like a good board, these individuals should be made up of people who think differently than us, and even from each other. You want diversity of opinion and counsel that is honest and direct. I'm lucky to have some of my board members here with me today. And I'll tell you, they've never shied away from telling me when I was wrong or never being the best version of myself. So I would tell myself, develop a personal board of directors. I would also tell myself not to curse the challenges that come your way, but to embrace them and learn from them. About 10 years ago, I took up the sport of triathlons. As you can probably tell from looking at me, I didn't get into the sport for podium finishes or prize money. I was initially drawn to it because triathlons forced me to push myself physically and mentally into areas I really wasn't comfortable with. I'm not a swimmer, not a biker, not a fast runner, but I had to learn to challenge myself in each of those areas to go beyond what I was comfortable with. And each race was kind of an opportunity to push myself. But I also learned about facing failure. In every race that I competed in, there was always a moment where something went wrong. A mechanical failure on the bike, something physically, the body was hurting, the elements were providing some sort of challenge. And at that time, I would simply put my head down, push through it, grit my teeth, and just curse my situation. But then I met an 85-year-old nun who had been doing Ironman since she was 50. And we got to talking. And I asked her how she dealt with these moments of darkness in the race, where you want to your mind wants you to give up. And she told me that rather than fight the moment, she embraced it like an old friend. She would welcome it and eventually let it pass by. So I learned to meet those race moments with a more positive mindset. Instead of gritting my teeth and cursing my luck, I actually look forward to those moments where I could recognize them for what they were and welcome them like an old friend. And so it is with life. You will face obstacles in those moments of darkness where you want to give up, you want to give in. But rather than fight or curse that moment, welcome those challenges and accept them as a normal part of the journey. So embrace the challenges. I would tell myself it's always day one. For the past 13 years, I've had the privilege of working at Amazon in Seattle. And one of the great elements of our company's success is our ability to infuse a very, very strong culture of innovation and invention, even as we grow bigger and bigger. We're never satisfied with where we are and always pushing for more. And there are a lot of ways that Amazon maintains that culture. One way is actually how we name our buildings where we work. Each building actually has a specific name and a connection with our history or our culture. The building I actually work in, and it happens to be the same building that Jeff Bezos works in, is called Day One. At Amazon, the concept of Day One is a reminder to never become complacent. Never allow processes or success create a kind of a culture of stasis. We never want to be at day two. We obsess over our customers, always looking for new ways to delight them and moving quickly to spot new trends and new ideas. We use concepts like disagree and commit, knowing that we never get to 100% consensus on anything, but we know that speed in decisions and actions is really what matters. So no matter what success you may find along the way, never become complacent. Always look forward. Always push for a better way or a better idea. Growth comes from trying new ideas. You won't always be right, but you will always be moving forward. Today is day one of your post-university life. Take the excitement and the energy that you feel today and carry it forward. Remember, it's always day one. Finally, I would remind myself to be very proud of this moment and of the hard work and sacrifice that brought you here. But just as importantly, be grateful. I would remind myself that I didn't achieve this milestone alone, and that the road from here will continue to be filled with love and support of a lot of people. I would tell myself to take the time to celebrate today, but remember to also feel gratitude. And this doesn't mean simply saying the words, thank you. This means carrying yourself each day in a manner that pays tribute to all that support and honors those important people. To my parents who sacrificed so much so that I could have a better life. To my family and friends who are there for me every step of the way. To this university who share their talent and resources so that I can have a place to grow and learn. All of these people and all these places help instill values and principles that endure after I leave here today. Make sure that words like integrity, respect, truth, honesty are not just hollow buzzwords, but really the very backbone of your life. Thank you for inviting me to speak to you today. I am truly grateful for this opportunity and to be able to share this incredibly important milestone with so many of you. As I said, I have a profound respect and admiration for what you students have accomplished and for what I know you will continue to achieve in your lives. I'm proud of many things in my life. At the top of that list is my 25-year marriage to the love of my life and my 3 extraordinary children. But I'm also very proud to be an alumnus of UVM. And I carry that catamount pride for the past 35 years. I hope that today you share that same pride, and that when you walk out these doors today, you continue to carry yourselves in a manner that pays tribute to that honor. And I hope that 35 years from now, you too will look back at today as the beginning of a glorious journey. Thank you.